Schaefer likes to say, you don't know you need one until you have one. And I believe that that's true. I actually believe... Are you rolling? Or you're kidding me? Okay. Taylor's not a kidder. Taylor might need to lay down though, because he's suffering from some severe back pain from a rough four-wheeler ride yesterday. So he might need to pull in a pad and lay down. But we are here finally in the studio. I know maybe the last thing you saw is us saying, all right, let's go talk about our sleep systems. That's actually almost a week ago now, I believe. Yeah, that's my hair. I got a haircut, trimmed the beard a little bit. So if I look different, that's why. Because we found elk. There's all kinds of things happened. Life happened. Elk happened. But we are finally here in the studio, and I have Canvas Cutter's two most popular selling sleep systems. The Dominator 2.0, which has been around since 2019. Its predecessor was around for several years before that, and then its grandpa has been around since 2001, 2002-ish. So this has been around. You've seen it probably more than any other sleep system we have or any other product that we have. We're going to talk about it and explain applications, when you'd use it, where it shines, and a little bit about its details. And then we've got the Summit right here, the Summit sleep system. This is technically the second edition of our original Summit sleep system. I'll explain why it's not Summit 2.0 here in just a minute. But if you want lots of details about each specific sleep system, we're going to be coming out with episodes where we'll take them out into the field, use them on hunts, we'll bring them back and test them, unless we get some nasty weather out on hunts, which it is monsoon season, so there are storms that roll through all the time that dump a lot of water, and if so, I hope that's the case so that we can show you in the field them getting dumped on. But if not, we'll bring them back, we'll hose them down, we'll show you how they perform, and give you all the ins and outs. Right now, it's just really enough information to whet your palate. Is that a saying? To whet your palate? Is that how you'd say? To satisfy your interests and hopefully answer some questions or even concerns that you have that we've seen come up over the last little bit, mainly since the Summit's been out. Let's start with the Summit, then we'll get to the nitty gritty of the Dominator. Push this over to the side. So the Summit. We also need to link, Taylor, below this video. I wrote an article on the history of the Summit and why it actually took us so long. We got requests to come out with a lightweight version of our bedroll. Since like 2017, people were asking for it. And we're just like, it's hard to do lightweight and have high quality. Durable is the key word there. And Canvas Cutter is all about durability, long lasting stuff that you can hand down. And so being able to come out with a lightweight version of our heavier Dominator sleep system and Fortress sleep system at the time was kind of hard to do. But if you want to know all the details about how that developed and why we decided to come out with it, check out the article that will be linked in the bio below. But this is the second version of the Summit sleep system. A little background of why it's not the 2.0. With the original Summit, when we would meet with customers, whether it be at shows or answering emails, most customers would actually call it, hey, what's your bivy? I want to look at your bivy. They would call the Summit a bivy all the time. We were calling it the Summit lightweight bedroll because, in fact, the Summit its shape, its size was taken after our fortress, our canvas fortress bedroll, right? The Dominator's a bedroll. The fortress was a bedroll. We just took the fortress and made it out of lightweight material, and it functioned the exact same. So we called it the Summit lightweight bedroll. But a lot of customers would still refer to it as your bivvy. Hey, you guys, where's that bivvy? Can I look at your bivvy? I love your bivvy. Well, when we decided we were going to come out with a new version, because there were features from the old one we wanted to improve upon, like with the mesh screen, we wanted it to be able to come out. So if you ever tore your mesh screen, it'd be easy to replace without needing to replace the whole sleep system. Vents, we wanted vents. Although most of us never had issues with condensation, if it was warmer weather, you would want the nylon off of you because there wasn't venting other than venting it like you do with the canvas ones, which is unzip it on the sides. So we wanted to add vents, make the mesh replaceable or removable. Lots of features we wanted to improve upon. And the pole system, tons of stuff. So we decided when we were going to come out with this new version that we would call it the Summit Bivvy to distinguish it from the original one, because that's what the large majority of our customers were calling it, the bivvy. They would always, that canvas cutter bivvy. So to make it more searchable and easier to find for a lot of our customers and to work with SEO and everything else when it comes to marketing, we decided we were going to call it the Summit Bivvy. So we did so. We launched it as the Summit Bivvy, and then in a lot of our ads, in a lot of the ads that we would run, people would get on there and they would keyboard warrior it, arguing that it's not a bivvy, and that it's a one-man tent, and it's not this and it's not that. And so we actually started getting so much negative feedback by calling it a bivvy, even though that's what everybody was calling it before we started calling it a bivvy, that we decided we're just going to call it the Summit Sleep System. So that's what it's called right now. It is a bedroll, and this is what distinguishes it between a one-man tent and a bedroll. My sleeping bag, my air pad, the pole system, some gear is in it right now. It's rolled up. So when you have a bed that rolls up, it's called a bed roll because it's your bedding and it's rolled up. And this is a bed that's rolled up. So it's a bedroll. It's not a one-man tent. If you had a one-man tent, you'd have a tent that you pull out of a stuff sack, and then you set the pull system up. Then you take your air pad out of its stuff sack and you put it in there, and then you take your sleeping bag out of its stuff sack and you put it in this one-man tent. It's all separate, and they all stuff into different bags. They don't roll up. It's not contained into one unit. This is a canvas bedroll because my foam pad, my sleeping bag, the pole system, my other gears in it rolled up. My bed's rolled up. It's a bed roll. So this is the Summit bedroll, but we're calling it the Summit Sleep System because we don't want to hurt too many people's feelings with how we name it. But some details about it. So another issue we're seeing, people, and T, in a minute, maybe we'll get some. Again, we'll go into the details of this a little later, but another concern people have with this Summit versus the original one is it is 1 pound heavier than the original one. And there's a reason for that. We changed the material. It went from a 40D ripstop nylon to now it's a 40D ripstop polyester on the top. But we changed the waterproof coating on it. So in the old one, we have a nylon topper with a TPU coating. And what we learned later on is that we were having a couple that were early adopters to that sleep system that after about 3 years, and lots of experience in inclement weather, that TPU coating can start to separate from the nylon. It wasn't a big issue, but the fact that it happened even one time, that one time is too many for us, and we don't want it to happen at all. And so with the new version, we were trying to figure out how can we coat this sleep system to where there's not a window or a time frame or a use frame where that's a possibility, where the waterproof coating can start to separate from the fabric. So they did a bunch of research, and we went with this polyester because it performs better in the wind. It's more abrasion resistant. It just, overall, we feel like it performed better than the nylon. But we gained weight by improving the inside coatings. So we'll show you some close-ups of this. But what we did is we took a thin mesh and we welded it with a TPU coating to the ripstop polyester. So this is the waterproof coating, but the coating itself is really heavy. The mesh binds the TPU coating to the polyester and makes it so it's not able to separate from the polyester fabric. So your waterproof coating is going to last as long as your fabric lasts. So you're not going to have any issue in the future of it separating. But if you take the top piece of that sleep system and you coat the entire thing with basically two coatings, a mesh coating and a TPU coating, you're going to get about a pound. Another thing that we did is this bottom fabric used to have a seam right here, and the 40D ripstop nylon went down the side, and the only place where the 210 Oxford fabric was found is on the very bottom. We wanted that really heavy duty fabric on the bottom so you didn't need to worry about throwing down some type of barrier or a tarp, right? Or a blanket, something to protect it. We wanted you to just be able to throw out wherever. But we decided, instead of having it go to that seam and stopping, that we'd have it go and wrap around the sides to make a whole bottom tub. So we gained weight there. So we're increasing the durability and longevity of the sleep system substantially. We're making it more abrasion resistant, more UV resistant. We're making it more waterproof. We're increasing the breathability, and we're taking that whole bottom section and making it pretty darn bulletproof in comparison to sleep systems in its same class. In doing so, we gained 1 pound. So I know 1 pound to a lot of individuals is a lot. However, our feelings are you can have a lighter sleep system that will not last, and you can replace those regularly, or you can spend your money on a sleep system that's going to last you many years without any issues and is far more convenient than those other sleep systems, in the fact that all your gear is in one bag, one rolled up system that you can strap to the outside of your pack, leaving the whole inside of your backpack free to put food and other gear. So we think it's a major trade-off. Now, if 1 pound, I also have to address this, and I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings. That's not my goal. But if 1 pound is too heavy for you, like maybe take the celebratory monster out of your backpack. There, you just saved the pound. You can work out a little bit more and be able to lift 1 more pound than normal, and that's okay. Or what's some other suggestions, T? I legitimately don't want to hurt anybody's feelings, but I do think it's absurd that that people complain about 1 pound difference when the product substantially improved and it's 1 pound. Example, Father Wisdom, I hope he's okay with this, but He's turning 68 this November. He backpacks 2.5 miles with his Summit, this sleep system. It has 2 air pads in it because he likes the extra cush, a really lofty down bag in it, and some gear. He's 68. If you're in your 30s and you're complaining about a 7-pound sleep system, that's how much my air pad, my sleeping bag, my pull system, this sleep system all together for me is 7 pounds, almost on the dot. If that is way too much for you, then this might not be the right sleep system for you, and that's a possibility. But it's really not that much to have a really bulletproof, lightweight sleep system that's contained in one spot. Am I missing anything there, T?
Spot on.
Okay. So a couple, it's got a vent in the foot box. It's got 2 up by your head. Again, we're going to be coming out with a video on the Summit that will go into all those details, how to set it up, how the vents work, all the details about the fabrics and everything. Just a brief. So it's a 70D ripstop polyester on the top. The bottom is made out of 210 Oxford nylon, and it's got that TPU coated, mesh welded waterproof coating on the inside. So this thing with a Teflon water resistant coating on the outside, it can handle a substantial amount of weather. All the seams are taped. It's heavier because it's more bulletproof. It's going to last you longer. Just to geek out for some of those really quick, this will be included in the other one, but it's got an 8,000 mm waterproof rating, and I believe a 10,000 mm breathability rating. T, feel free to fact check me on that, but since we live in a generation that's way into fact checking, super awesome. It's 30 inches at the shoulder. It tapers down to 24 inches in the foot box. The sidewall tapers from 14 inches down to 11 inches in the bottom. So it has this tapering down to save weight, right? It tapers down, and it's 90 inches long. So that's over 7 feet, right? Because 84 inches is 7 feet, so it's 7. What is that? 88 inches long. So if you're 7 feet tall, can you fit in it? Yes, you can. You can fit in it just perfectly fine. Any other concerns people have that we can address that I haven't? Okay, so that in a nutshell is the Summit sleep system. That's why it's called the Summit, not the Summit 2.0, and that's why it's no longer called the Summit Bivy. So you know that's a foundation for it. Hopefully answers some people's concerns, some applications for it. If you're going backpacking, that's what it was designed for. A lightweight sleep system, not ultra lightweight. It's not meant, we don't want ultra lightweight at Canvas Cutter. That's why our products all weigh a lot. We want durable, long-lasting, heavy-duty, bulletproof products. So it's a lightweight sleep system that's great for backpacking. I know guys who pack in the backcountry with horses and mules. A lot of guys will take the Dominators. A lot of dudes will actually throw 4 Dominators on one pack animal, do a diamond hitch to it, and pack in that way. But I do know a couple outfitters that I've talked to, and one guy, he's not an outfitter, he's just a friend, that he actually prefers taking the Summit because, in his own words, he says, I can take more steaks in if I take the Summit. So he prefers to eat better and maybe not have the 3-inch foam pad that's going to be way more comfortable, but he's willing to sacrifice that to have a really good, super functional sleep system that he can throw behind his saddle. It takes up no room in a pannier if you want to throw it in some panniers, but because it's lighter weight, he can pack other things that otherwise he would have to sacrifice by taking a big sleep system. What's some other applications? Backpacking, packing and on horsing. prepping, emergency preparedness. If you want a good sleep system for yourself or your family that you can easily put in the trunk of your car or on a backpack to go quick in emergencies. And there's been a lot of them lately between earthquakes and fires where families have been displaced from their homes. Great sleep system for emergency preparedness. Whether you're riding, another really, really good one, and we used to get guys hitting us up all the time for the Fortress for this. The Summit probably is the go-to now, but if you ride motorcycles, if you like to do cross-country trips on your bike, the Summit sleep system is perfect for that, to be able to throw either up front on your handlebars, in the saddlebags on your bike, or even behind your seat. It's awesome. So there's a few applications. That's some information on the Summit sleep system. I love it. I actually am extremely biased when it comes to air pads and foam. I've grown up since I was a teenager sleeping on a 3-inch foam pad in a canvas bedroll. And so when I go from that to an air pad, it kind of is minor torture for me. But I'll share all my opinions about air pads and stuff when we talk about the Summit. I have lots of them. I've tried to do my best when it comes to researching what I think is practical and price-wise and everything else. But let's talk about the Dominator. Woo! Schaefer likes to say, you don't know you need one until you have one. And I believe that that's true. I actually believe people who feel like they need one, when they finally decide to get one, go out and use it and say, why did I wait so long? The amount of applications for a Dominator bedroll are substantial. From work, traveling for work. If you travel a lot and drive around from work, a couple nights in a hotel and this thing's paid for. Plus, ditch the disgusting hotel beds, sleep in your own bed in maximum comfort wherever you end up. If you're in between cities and you get tired, pull off the road, roll this thing out, go to sleep, get yourself a good power nap and get back on the road. Staying over at a buddy's house, instead of sleeping on a couch or in a bed, again, that's not yours, just bring your bedroll in, roll it out on the floor, and sleep better than you would on a couch anyways, and you're in your own bed. That's beyond, obviously, taking it out camping and for hunting. Now, when it comes to hunting, when it comes to canvas cutter, let me put it this way, we are not trying to replace other options. Right? There are applications for camping and hunting that work and that this actually works with, right? You can use a Dominator inside a wall tent or another tent. You can use a Dominator inside your fifth wheel. It actually keeps all your gear together. And if you wanted to leave the fifth wheel in camp to go scout another area, you can easily pull it out, roll it up, throw it in your truck and go check a whole other area, which is another reason why shed hunters, predator hunters, and probably more of the dedicated hardcore deer and elk guys like it, is because if you've hunted a lot, you know that you could scout a deer in this canyon and then the hunt's rolling around and he's actually not in that canyon anymore. He's been bumped or he's been moved and now he's a couple miles away. Well, to be able to roll this up and go, and then when you're ready to go to bed, you simply unclip 3 buckles and unroll it and go to bed. It's not this big extravagant, like we're going to spend an hour setting up a tent and throwing our gear in, and then in the morning we're going to spend an hour tearing everything down. It takes, I think if I'm being super conservative, maybe 3 minutes to roll it up, to tear it down. Probably 3 minutes to tear it down, a couple minutes to set it up, and that's if you're going slow, which most of us in real life aren't in that big of a hurry to set it up. So time saver, convenient. Again, 3-inch foam pad in this bad boy. and sleeping bag, pull system, some other gear. I have the straps tucked in underneath so they get stuck. But we've got these G-hook buckles, just would loosen it up. 14.5-ounce canvas. It's got a Teflon water resistant coating on the outside, so you'll see in rainstorms the water will like beat up and run off it. If it's a heavy rainstorm, after time the canvas will saturate. Water will start working through that Teflon coating, and it will change color. It will become a little darker color when it saturates. That doesn't mean water is coming through, because on the inside of the sleep system, it's got a polyurethane coating, a thin polyurethane coating. So traditionally, canvas, I'm trying to make weaving with my fingers. Canvas is like this, so it's super breathable, right? And when it gets wet, it swells up and it actually shrinks. It gets so tight and swollen that it keeps water from coming through. But any of you who have used traditional canvas in wall tents or even bedrolls know that when it's wet, if you touch it, it will start to wick through right there. Is it still rolling? After 29 minutes, we'll shut off. This will not wick. It can't wick. One, because of the canvas we're using, and two, the polyurethane coating on the inside is a waterproof coating. So you can get rained on for days, snowed on. I've had it all, and you are going to stay dry if you are using this right. Now, this sleep system is not for backpacking. We have never marketed it for backpacking. We've never used Dominator 2.0 sleep system in the same frame as backpacking or phrase as backpacking. We've never advertised it as a backpacking option. If you ever need to clean it, a garden hose is what we recommend, a garden hose, and brush it off. If it gets dust or mud on it, it will brush off. If you want to clean it beyond that, you can unzip it, pull your gear out, and hose it down. And again, in an upcoming video where we go into the details of the Dominator, we'll be showing that as well. What else about the Dominator? It literally, for Taylor, it's truer than most. It is like having your bed with you wherever you go. We actually still get emails about it. Quick story about this. Once upon a time, there's a doctor, and he uses our bedroll all the time. In fact, he told us he would sleep next to, his wife would sleep in their bed. He would sleep next to the bed in his bedroll because he would sleep so good in it. And he told us, it wasn't the Dominator. It was an older bedroll we called the 49er because it had 9-inch sidewalls. Anyways, so he's like, I love it, but you need to make a pull system for it that holds it off of my feet. My feet are claustrophobic. And at the time we're like, oh, bro, dude, if we got claustrophobic feet, we're really struggling, right? It's the struggle is real. But he's like, man, if you could design a pull system that would hold the canvas off my feet, I would sleep so much better than I already do. That would be awesome. And at first, my dad and I like rolled our eyes like, okay. But then we told him we would try to come up with something for him. So we designed what turned into now the full length pole system, our most popular pole system, which holds the canvas off of you the entire way from the footbox all the way to the head of the sleep system. And it's an incredible pole system. That's how it came about. And we get emails all the time of people telling us they sleep in it every night, even next to their wife who sleeps in bed because they sleep so well in it. So if you want a very comfortable, super convenient, very durable, weather-resistant sleep system for multiple applications, the Dominator 2.0 sleep system is where it's at. And I know it requires a lot of trust on your part because I know that you work really, really hard for the money that you earn. And so where you spend it like matters. I promise you it's worth it. It takes a lot to make this product as good as it is, and it will last you ideally your lifetime. Ideally, it's something that you're giving to your kids and you're upgrading to whatever new one in the future or whatever. The original, one of the first or second bedroll my dad ever made from 2001 is still around. My dad has it actually. We'll probably show it to you. You can see it on our Origins video if you want to go watch that. You could take that out right now and use it, and it's 23 years old. So they last a little bit longer than most. But that is a brief synopsis of our two most popular sleep systems that we sell, a little bit about them, where you would use them. Hopefully addressing some of your questions or concerns. Hopefully that's helpful. But until next time.